You might be trying too hard to succeed. And I know that sounds paradoxical, but there's this amazing principle that you can learn about called flow. And it's specifically talked about in what I believe to be one of the best sports psychology books of all time, which is The Inner Game of Tennis. And now, I'm not even a tennis player, I'm a hockey player. And I have learned so much from that book. It's by Timothy Galway. I highly recommend you read it. But the main principle from the book is that when an athlete tries too hard and starts to overthink their game, they start to try to memorize too many moves at once, like, hold the racket correctly, look at the ball, focus on your footwork. The mind can only focus on so many things at one time. And when you bring someone into that state of trying, it's actually a state of tension. It's not allowing for a natural flow, for muscle memory, for the subconscious mind to take over. And now, I'm a private hockey coach, and so I see this in my clients all the time, where I'll be working with a kid and he's really trying to master one skill that he's struggling with. And if I try to give him too many instructions all at once, it tends to mess him up more. And actually, one of the best instructions I've ever given different clients that I had is to relax. I tell them to go at half of the speed that they would normally go when they're trying to learn a new move, and allow their body to kind of do the learning for them. Our bodies are very intelligent mechanisms. Your food digests itself, your heart beats itself, your body even breathes itself, it repairs its cells, it does all these kinds of things. And if you're an athlete, you know the power of muscle memory. As a hockey player, when I'm taking a shot, I'm not thinking about every little hand placement and movement. I'm just allowing my body to do what it knows how to do. But that process can't happen if your mind is too noisy and active. And now, this principle of relaxed concentration, it heavily applies to sports and athletics, but it also applies to creative projects. If you're working on a business, you might be focusing on way too many things at once. You might be trying to, build 10 different avenues of what you want to create all at once, when really you have to focus on one thing at a time. You have to allow your mind to be calm so that you can focus properly on the task at hand. And now, when I say don't try, this doesn't mean that you're not putting forth any sense of willingness or action. It just means that all of the actions that you do take come from that place of flow. They come from a place of relaxed concentration. If you're an athlete of any kind, even if you haven't been an athlete for some time, think of your best sports performances. Usually, they take place in one of two states: pure relaxation, where you're not worried about the outcome, you're not worried about winning or losing, you're just completely immersed in the moment and you're just playing your game. Or it comes from a state of fiery passion, where you're also not overthinking everything that you're doing. You're just so passionately involved and having fun playing the game that you love to play that there's no mental activity. You're just super in the flow. Your body's just filled with energy. And so that is what I have found to be one of the keys to success, which is, if you're struggling with something right now, if you're struggling with school, if you're struggling with a creative project, if you're struggling with athletics or the gym or whatever it is, take a step back. Realize that when you're trying too hard, you're creating more resistance. You're not allowing flow to take place. It's that act of trying that is really the greatest form of resistance. It doesn't mean you don't take action. You still take action, but you take action from that place of flow, from that place of passion. And you can experience this in other avenues too. When you see a singer or songwriter just get so lost in their music, when you see a really good performance, they close their eyes because they're not even focusing on the world outside of them. They're just so in the moment singing that song. They go into a state of peak performance. They go into a state of flow. There's no other thoughts about the past or the future or any other mental activity. They're just in the moment. That is the state of peak performance. Again, whether you're working on a business, whether you're working on a creative project like music or art or writing or whatever it is. I experience that writing all the time. That if I try to overthink, okay, I need to write this, this, and this, it doesn't flow. But if I sit down, if I clear my mind, if I light a candle, maybe if I take a warm shower before and I sit down to write, I'll just go into this state of like 2 hours. The words are just flowing out of me. I don't even know where they're coming from. I'm not even thinking about them. They're just flowing onto the page. That is the state you want to be in. But that state of being, it requires self-trust. You have to be able to relax and trust your body, trust your soul, that it knows what it's doing, not just the overthinking mind. I think one of the greatest inflictions that human beings suffer with is overthinking. Just constantly overthinking all the time. And it's because, life is complex. I look at my to-do list right now, and I got like 15, 16 items on my to-do list. I got to get some paperwork in for my new job. I got to do a few homework assignments. I want to make it to the gym later today. I'm trying to upload this video. There's so many things you have to do. But the amazing thing is how well your natural intelligence works when you're not burdened by overthinking. Because you can only do one thing at a time. This is why in the Buddhist traditions they teach one-pointedness, centeredness, focus, concentration, which is you only focus on one task at a time. So maybe this next week you have 50 tasks you have to do, but you can't do 50 tasks at once. You can only do one at a time. So when you relax your mind, when you calm down, a great way to do that is to focus on the breath. You breathe, you center yourself again. And you relax, and you focus on one task at a time, you'll find that by the end of the week, you maybe got more tasks done than you even had set out for yourself. When your mind is relaxed and calm, you kind of just get these little intuitions that you know what you're supposed to do. Now, that doesn't mean that you should just throw away your to-do list or, if you have an assignment with a deadline that you should put it off. You still want to be responsible in this process of not trying, or relaxed concentration, I think is a much better way to put it. That's how Timothy Galway puts it in The Inner Game of Tennis, that relaxed concentration is the highest state of being we can be in for peak performance, for whatever it is that we're trying to do. But I think it's so true, and I see it time and time again. A day where I'm really busy, I'm bouncing from school to work, to doing paperwork, to working on a creative project, and all this other stuff that I'm doing. But when I'm relaxed, I just flow. I'm not thinking 3 steps ahead. I'm not thinking about work when I'm in the classroom. I'm not thinking about the paperwork I have to do when I'm doing my homework. You have to allow yourself, you have to give yourself the mental spaciousness to focus on one task at a time. It reminds me of this story that I heard where there was a student who approached a martial arts master. I think it was a kung fu master. And he said, "How long will it take me to be a master of Kung Fu?" And he said, 10 years, 1 decade. And he said, "What if I work harder than any other student? Like I try so hard. I'm just going to try hard all the time." And the teacher said, 20 years. And he said, "Why would it take me longer if I tried even harder?" And he's like, "Because if you have one eye on the destination, you only have one eye to focus on the task at hand. But when you're relaxed, when you're in that state of relaxed concentration, all of your focus can be in the present moment. And you can just focus on the task that is in front of you. Not the 10 tasks, not the 20 tasks, not all the errands that you have to run later, but just whatever's in front of you. And that takes time, that takes skill, because the human mind likes to wander. The human mind likes to dart to 100 different places at once. But this is your gentle reminder that whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to do better in the gym, whether you're an athlete playing a sport, whether you're a student, you're working on a creative project, you're just working a job, whatever it is that you're trying to do, the best state of being that you can be in for peak performance is relaxed concentration. Relax your mind, calm your mind, and let yourself, trust yourself to just take the next right action and focus on one thing at a time, not 10 things, not scatter-minded, just one thing at a time. You will be amazed at how much more peace you feel and how much more productive you are. Thank you.